My name is Shahin. I'm from Sri Lanka. I come from a family background of gem merchants from my great-grandfather's side, from my maternal great-grandfather's side. And I have been, actually originally, I've been a banker and I started my career in Sri Lanka for about 6 to 7 years, and I went to Japan to study Japanese. But at that time, I did not imagine I'm going to be following my great-grandfather or the family business at any time. Very hesitantly, I came into the gem business because my father always wanted me to study, qualify, and do something else. It's in 1996 when I went to Japan after graduating in Japanese. I had an opportunity to work for an international Indian company in Japan, where I started the actual gem career. At that time, I didn't know what was a tanzanite or a sapphire, even though my family background had a immense knowledge of corundum and sapphires from Sri Lanka. My mentor at that time, the company I worked for, trained me very well from scratch, from identifying rough to the real gemstones. It was not easy because language was a barrier in Japan. It took a few years to be able to get into the society, speak their language, and to learn the gem business itself. Even I used to see my family, my uncles, my friends, my cousins, they were all doing gems. Even though I had that running in my blood, I didn't have an opportunity to get into it in Sri Lanka. So the actual learning all started in Japan, and when I was sent for training, especially in Jaipur, India, where I started learning the gem rough and all its elements from scratch. It took about a year to do the identification of different sorts of gems. So I studied more semi-precious at the beginning, even though corundum was there in the back of my mind. And I specialized mostly in tanzanites and all sorts of cult stones. My father-in-law comes from, again, a gem cutting family, and he has specialized in cutting for the last 50 odd years. I learnt a lot from him. He showed me a lot of information, cutting techniques, which also helped me. Of course, my early stage of the career was banking, and in Japan it was the language, and I went also into computer graphics, which now I use these graphic designer techniques for the gemstones, to visualize, to make it perfect, because the trade is now looking for more nice material for precision, for perfection. So I use these past experiences to the gems, which I am handling now. When I started the business, actually Japan was in recession, and it was not the best of times in the early 90s. Still, there was demand for perfect stones and nice material. So while I was working, I had the opportunity to, after a few years, of course, after having the basic knowledge, I had the opportunity to travel to Africa, Brazil, even come to Sri Lanka to find new material, and because there was a big demand from my Japanese clients asking for wide range of stones. So I had to keep looking every time to bring them something new, something perfect. As you know, Japan demands the highest grade of quality in products, so they will not compromise. And then there were loads of competition too. So it's not about beating the competition, it's I had to do better for myself. So I need to keep running around, even in the depression of the business, to make it better every day. We were dealing with a wide variety of clients, from wholesale to manufacturer to retail stores. So everybody had their different requirement in terms of size, color, varieties of stones. So I couldn't I was not supposed to focus in just one type of stones, and they needed variety, and they were always demanding for something new. You take the best, and next time they wanted something better. Yeah, lately our clients have been looking for something rare, something unusual, so that they can be marketing it to their clients. So that's why we had to be procuring for grandiorite, Paraiba tourmaline, something rare. Rare stones have become in demand and in trend lately. In 2009, the company I was working, I came out of it and I formed my own company, SR Trading Japan, and I needed to venture out from Japan. So it was a family business. It was started by myself and my brother. So he continued to stay in Japan, and I ventured out. And I came into China because I saw there was opportunity, especially in Hong Kong and China. I didn't find it difficult because I had fine material, fine goods, so it was easy to penetrate into the market because they were looking for something good, and I already had it, and I just had to work my way up to see what new demands were coming up for China. That has been now going on for the last 6 years, and we made quite a number of good clienteles in China and Hong Kong lately. Our business in Japan still continues. It's just that what we are marketing has now become specific. Japan, we now promote mostly corundums, especially Paparaja sapphire, Paraiba tourmaline, grandiorite. In China, we cater almost everything. They're looking for any nice stone. So this still allows me to keep looking for opportunities of new stones, new findings, especially grandiorite. It's becoming in demand lately, and because it's of very rare mineral quality for the gemstone. Challenges at the beginning, it was the language. Yeah, so I had to find a few good associates, and fortunately we found one, and we are groomed, and we have been working together, and to working with Japan and China is two different environment, language was the most biggest barrier. Yeah. But we have come over that and handling them perfectly well. Since China is not a matured market like Japan or the US or Europe, they were very curious to see so many varieties of stone. So they also needed to be educated. So we used to teach them about the different varieties of stone, and that's how we were able to market our stones from different types, from inexpensive stones to expensive stones, because still it's a maturing market, so there is a lot of opportunity to make business in China. We used to do private seminars, small groups of 10, 15, and we had kind of a tea party, and we had special invitees, and then we also had question and answer sessions. So in order to make it easy for us to understand and to be able to let them know what we are carrying and what sorts of gemstones they are going in for. Most of the corundums are coming from Sri Lanka, and right now we don't find too many gem quality stones, but we have a handful of good sapphires produced still in Sri Lanka, but the bulk of it comes from Madagascar and other parts of the world, which is of course all produced in Sri Lanka, and most of the color stones come from Brazil and Africa too. Yes. So we do the international shows, so a lot of our supplies, we have meetings in Hong Kong and Bangkok where we procure the gemstones. But we don't buy the rough, but we buy the cut stones. But I'm passionate about how my stones look, so I usually have to recut them all most of the time. Every stone I look, I find some flaw, so I find an excuse to recut it. Or some stones we can't do that because of the natural limitation of the stone. It's especially corundum and other stones which are brittle, which we need to be careful. Sometimes it can break, or sometimes it can lose the color. So other than that, all stones are recut in Sri Lanka, and since I mentioned my father-in-law is also a cutter for the last 50 years, I used his expertise to produce some beautiful stones. Yeah, all the stones I purchase it personally by myself. Yeah, and every stone goes through my own QC, and I am very picky about my stones. Yeah, if I am not satisfied, I don't even recommend it to my clients. First, I need to like the stone myself before I ask my client to like it. I brought in some few stones, yes, particularly some grandidierites and the beryl. There's a special beryl which has iron, chromium, vanadium, which I bought from a friend of mine from Germany. It's a special stone from Madagascar. I thought it's something very unusual and rare. Then I have some paraiba-tourmalines, some mahangi spinels. Like I said, we deal in a variety of stones, and all my stones are special to me, and so it's easy for me to market it to my clients. Future, I see there is a whole lot of potential if you can bring some value-added, nice merchandise, because the people are demanding. It doesn't matter whether it's the US, Japan, or China, or Hong Kong, anywhere in the world right now, they're looking for something value for money, and if you can bring some good ethical value added nice material, there is still opportunity and demand to make business. And it's an ocean. Only thing is right now to find the nice material is not easy. Even it can be corundum or spinels or any sort of semi-precious stones. You need to work hard. You need to spend a lot of time, patience to find the source, the right source. And fortunately, we have good sources from Sri Lanka, Africa, and Brazil, with the experience and the connections in the past 20 years, what I've earned. So this helps me to bring the right product and to meet the demand. And this demand will continue. And I see this as an opportunity to make business. I got two boys. My eldest son, Shahin, he has shown interest that he wants to come into the gym business. But I, like my father, I told him, first you better get qualified. You can come into this business and anyway find out and learn about it soon. So I hope in the future they may decide to. And my wife is already in FGA qualified, so she does help me in the family business. And I have some good colleagues in China and in Japan. We all work together as a team. And my brother also has been a good support. It has been there. It's a beautiful stone. I'm sure there is my father-in-law used to say every stone has his own client. So I'm just waiting. Tanzanite, 22.26 carats.